What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of TEW Confrontational. My name is Ty Workentine here with my little brother Evan Workentine, and we got a
Yep.
special guest on the line today. We got Joe Fitzgerald. So we're special guests, honored to have him here, and he's got some insight on some things we don't know much about. So excited to have him on here and everything like that. But yeah, let's just jump right into another episode of TEW Confrontational. Main thing that's going on right now is NBA. The NFL draft just wrapped up. NHL playoffs are going on. PJ is always going on. There's never a weekend where there's not PJ on. So I mean, a lot of stuff to talk about. But anything you guys want to start into, like as far as anything itching to you guys want to talk about right away off the bat?
Yes, as Ty mentioned, my name's Joe. I'm a big Minnesota fan, Twins, Vikings, Timberwolves. So this time of year, I'm pretty pumped about the Wolves and where they're going. Currently up 2-0 against Denver. I don't know if you guys want to start there.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
100%. 100%. Go ahead, Ev.
Yeah, I think it's a great series, and obviously, T-Wolves' track record's not so great, so it's good to see them dominate. Especially, I mean, playing the Nuggets, so they're dominating them, and I think that the way Anthony Edwards is playing, Rudy Gobert didn't even play the second game. I think he was having a kid, they still they beat him by what 20? I think they ended up beating him by like 22 or whatever it was, without their
Pretty
best
handily.
defender.
Yeah.
And just speaking of that, yeah, Rudy Gobert, the Defensive Player of the Year again this year. He's four-time Defensive Player of the Year. It's just they have a good team around them, and they're pretty young. And obviously, with Ant leading the way, I think it's only up from here. You see what they do in these playoffs, but obviously the next few years, next 5 years, 10 years, they're going to be a good team, I think.
Ty, do you think the Wolves are too young to stay this consistent moving forward?
I mean, I wouldn't say too young. They got the perfect balanced team as far as like veteran presence. So, I mean, I would list even Karl Anthony Towns as a veteran at this point. Now he's been in the league, what, 6, 7, 8 years now. You got Rudy Gobert,
Yeah.
you got Mike Conley as well. And then you had Ant Edwards, who's his third year in the league, but then you got Jaden McDaniels, got Nikhil Alexander Walker. I mean, you got Naz Reid, who's been in the league for what 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
knows what it's about. I mean, I like this
He's a
Timberwolves
starter
team,
on
and
most teams.
yeah, 100%. He's sixth man of the year, and yeah, this team is just very well built, I think. And yeah, Chris Finch, coach, did a phenomenal job. Defensive focused, like you said, Evan. Rudy Gobert, defensive player of the year, but
Mm-hmm.
the Minnesota Timberwolves are ranked number one in defense efficiency in the league. With Nikhil Alexander Walker, Naz Reid, yeah, like the names I mentioned, everyone puts in an effort on the defensive end, and I think that's why you see them 2-0 up 2-0 on the defending champions. I mean, yeah, just a versatile team, and then yeah, with Ant Edwards, who knows, could be the next face of the league in the NBA. Putting up 40 and like every night he's having himself a career playoff run, NBA historical career playoff run. So it's pretty crazy. So yeah, I'm enjoying watching this series, and I said both you guys, like, and we mentioned on the last pod, I think whoever wins this series is going to be the one who wins the NBA playoffs. So
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I disagree with you, Ty. I think OKC, no one's really talking about them.
right,
But I truly think they can match up defensively with Minnesota, and then Chet Holmgren's a different beast.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
He's just kind of lanky compared to Jokic, who's not as athletic. So I
right,
think Chet Holmgren gives like Towns kind of an issue, and even Gobert, he's a little quicker and he can shoot on the perimeter. And
Right.
Joker can do that, but not to the level of Holmgren. And then
right.
SGA is a different problem on the perimeter. So I think the OKC, if Minnesota happens to make it, is going to be the OKC Minnesota is going to be the best series of the playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
100%. Yeah,
agree. I agree.
that will be a good matchup. But like as far as too young, you mentioned the Minnesota Timberwolves maybe being too young. OKC is the youngest team in the playoffs right now. Um, and I think their inexperience in the playoffs might lead to some trouble down the road. Um, even who are they playing right now? Who they got? They got the Mavs. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the OKC's up 1-0, but the Mavs, they got Luca, Kyrie, they got a stellar squad around them too. So I could see the Mavs beating the Thunder just because of the inexperience of the Thunder, honestly.
Yeah, and
But
on
Yeah,
on
but
on that point, Luka. Speaking of the Mavs, yeah, they have Luka, but Luka's battling a knee injury. They were talking about it. Um, he had an initial injury, and then he must have fell or got tangled up. But we don't know if that was the cause of it because he was limping around all last game. So if he's not able to play, if he's not able to play the way he does, those step back threes, jump shots, that's going to affect the Mavs for sure. So if he's out this remainder of the series or is not able to go at his top, I think that OKC gets him for sure.
Yeah, I think the usage level of Doncic throughout the year is really starting to catch up to him at this point.
Hmm.
Question for both of you: do you think Kyrie benefits more from Luca, or Luca benefits more from Kyrie?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a great question. Ty, you want to go first? Or you want me to take it?
Go ahead, dude. I mean, yeah, yeah, I like both of those players, and I think that it's just,
Do you
yeah,
think they benefit off each other equally? I think that just watching Kyrie, obviously he's been in the league a lot longer. Seen him play with LeBron, seen him play with a lot of superstars. I think that just him being in the NBA as long as he has, I think that the way he gets people open, passes people open, helps out, and obviously him getting like more traction to him, obviously leaves open Luka Doncic. So I think that Kyrie makes him better for sure.
Yeah, I think Luca definitely benefits more. I think Kyrie has taken the back seat a little bit,
Hmm.
and that's a credit to him for knowing Luca's kind of the man of the team. But when Luca kind of runs out of gas, Kyrie can kind of finish and kind of take over in the third and fourth quarter. So credit to Kyrie. I think he's kind of he's gotten a bad rap for his personality, but I think he's really taken a back seat to Luca, and I think that's really benefited both of them in the long term. So I think it's a good marriage. I just hope that Luca can stay healthy enough to give us a good show against OKC.
yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with, I mean, it's hard to say because Kyrie has been in the league for a long time, but it just like look at the first game versus OKC. Luka had 34 and Kyrie had 30. I mean, or the last couple games. I mean, they're averaging versus the last two games versus OKC 30 and a half versus for Kyrie and 34 for Luka. I mean, and I know this is only game one, but the last time they played twice this year. But heading into game two, it's pretty pretty. I think it's going to be Mavs beat the Thunder just because of inexperience. But I think they just feed off each other. Luka and Kyrie. I mean, they're both a threat, and so I mean, you gotta defend one, and then I mean, they score. They don't really score off assists, either of them. You know what I mean? They don't. Neither of
Yeah,
them score off assists. They score
ball
their own.
centric.
Yeah, they just score at their own will and just they create their own shot. So I mean, looking at the stats, I mean, I think they're pretty even, like 30 points a game, 10 assists, and then obviously Luka has a height advantage. He gets more rebounds, but I mean, they're pretty even. I think they just feed off of each other and benefit
Yeah.
each other equally. You know what I mean? There's two threats on the court at the same time. It's just, or even not at the same time. If you have them off the court, like Luke on the court one time and Kyrie on the court one time. I mean, you're still getting 10, 15 points that quarter out of either one of those two. So I think it's a
Do you
fun
guys think they're
team.
too much? Are they too much like the Suns? Meaning they're so
Mm-mm.
ISO. It's a you go I go kind of thing. You don't think they're more like the Suns? I feel like it's a dying breed to have someone just on the ISO like that. And the
Hmm.
T Wolves really expose the Suns for doing that. And I think, in my opinion, Dallas is kind of running out of steam because they can't just keep doing that in a 7 game series. And I think the team game, like the OKC, the Minnesota route, seems to be winning this year in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, as far as hold on, Evan. Yeah, as far as that, I mean, Kyrie knows is the best pick and roll point guard out, one of the best pick and roll top five at least, if not top three, best pick and roll offensive point guards out there. He's throwing lobs to Derek Lively, the other tall guy coming off the bench. What is his name?
Gaffer or something.
Yeah, Daniel Gafford from
Hmm.
Washington. Yeah,
Yep.
like they have some threats around him that are like young, talented, and willing to like just take a. And I guess you can say Kyrie is taking a backseat to Luca as far as I think he's one that controls the point guard, but he controls the game. He controls the pace of the game. Yeah, Luca can go on his tear where he's doing step back threes and not making everything, but I mean, that's just part of basketball. I mean, when somebody's going to run, you just give them the ball every time and let them do their thing. But I think Kyrie controls the pace of that team, and I think he is the leader of that team. Him and Luka both contribute both equally, I think so. But it's a fun team. That's an exciting matchup. Yeah, like you said, Joe, I think that is an exciting matchup. And if the Thunder or the Mavs get to the next round against the Timberwolves I think the Timberwolves are going to take it. But
Mm-hmm.
either one of those two teams is going to be a fun matchup on the West
I
side.
think, truthfully, I think the Thunder take care of business in 5 games with Dallas. I just think they look tired to
Gentlemen's
me,
sweep.
and then
Yeah.
I can see Kyrie going off for 40, but as long as nobody else is doing anything, they're not going to be hurt by that.
Yeah,
So
it's a scary team when
that's my
Luca
take
and
on that series.
it's a
Yeah.
scary team when Luca and Kyrie are both going off for 30, but
Mm-hmm.
if one of them's only getting 20 points, 15, 20 points, then really, yeah, you secure the game that way. But
Yeah, I'd have to say, yeah, I agree with Joe. I mean, obviously, yeah, OKC playing that team game, I think that wins the series, wins multiple series in these playoffs. I think that yeah, if the Mavs want to win, yeah, Kyrie and Luca, they have to have like what you're saying, 30, 35, 10 assists each, and then obviously Luca getting more boards, but they got to play like that every game. And if the OKC Thunder are able to like key on that and try to stop one of them, that's all they got to do. I mean, then
Or
OKC
just
wins
limit
that
everybody
series.
else on the team outside of Kyrie
Right,
and Luka.
right,
Just let them get those, and they're going to tire out.
yeah, and I think yeah, just going off that team thing, yeah, T Wolves are playing that way, OKC, and I think obviously that's a lot harder to stop because you're kidding. 5 guys can do go to the hoop or whatever. So I think you're exactly right, Joe. But going back to Luca and Kyrie, I think yeah, they both benefit off each other throughout the regular season and in this playoffs, though.
Yeah, it's
they
been a good
did.
marriage. I think there's a lot of criticism when they put them together like that,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's a really good pairing because it kind of gives Luka the break he needs, and Kyrie can take over, and he's that good of a player where he can do that.
Right.
So I just hope Luka can stay healthy and we get a good series out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they just need a consistent big man and they'd be solid because Derek Lively is always hurt. They just traded for Daniel Gafford midseason. So I mean, yeah, they definitely need a solid big man that's just reliable and is always there.
Somebody
But
to shoot threes because they open up so much. When they drive, things open up on the outside, and so if they had a Towns or anybody that could shoot a three, I think that would really help them out quite a bit.
I mean, it opens up the question to like what's going to happen next year. I mean, you got LeBron going into free agency. You got a lot of big names going into free agency that could make moves.
Paul George, maybe.
Paul George, Kevin Durant. I mean, there's a lot of big names going into free agency that could make a team pretty drastically different if they decided to go. I mean, NBA is always weird in the offseason. There's always a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of changes. I feel like there's way more in the NBA than there is in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, let's get to I think the most exciting series right now has got to be the Knicks Pacers. Let's talk about that one. That one's interesting takes. I've heard a lot of takes of the Pacers getting screwed by the refs. Obviously, there's some flops that are questionable. I want to hear your guys' takes on that series because obviously Knicks are up 2-0, and everybody's saying that the Pacers should be up 2-0 according to like just based off what the refs have been doing.
Yeah, a
Sure. I
lot of
think my take on it is styles make fights, right? And I think both of them are scrappers. So I think Indiana, they're kind of scrappers in their own right, but the Knicks are just scrapping a little bit better. So I
Mm-hmm.
think I kind of equate it to like the Baltimore Ravens. Like they're so physical in the NFL, they're going to win games just based on that. And I
Yep.
think the Knicks are kind of that way. And unfortunately for the Pacers, they play the same style as the Knicks, but they just don't do it quite as well as the Knicks do it with Jalen Brunson. And of course, they
Mm-hmm.
have Jalen Brunson. And how long can he do what he's doing? But I
right.
think they play the same style of basketball. It just New York is doing it just a little bit better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
100.
agree. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Ty.
No, 100%. Yeah, Knicks Bulldog and Jalen Brunson. I don't know how, and I think I was talking to both of you about this. He doesn't create any separation. Like, I mean, he does obviously because he gets his shot off, but it's like just enough separation to get a shot off, and then he makes everything. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
averaging what 35 a game in the playoffs, like the most in the NBA hit. Like it's just actually insane what he's doing. He's making everything, and then he doesn't really have a whole lot of help around him. I mean, I can't even think of a person besides
Well,
me.
What's
Josh
that?
Hart, DiVincenzo.
And
Josh
then
Hart has
Randall's
been
hurt.
consistent with the threes. He's been clutch with the 3-pointers he's been making. But I mean, yeah, Mitch Robinson, is he playing? I haven't been paying much attention to the Knicks
No,
series,
he's
but I
hurt. Mitch Robinson's hurt, and that's not a big deal. But when Julius Randle and Mitch Robinson are hurt,
Bojan
Hmm.
Bogdanovic is out for the season. They traded for him halfway through. He's a huge OG Anunoby's out, it looks like.
Yeah, he got hurt last night, but I think it was more of a cramp hamstring type thing. So hopefully he's back, obviously, next game.
Yeah, May
yeah,
12th is his
Brunson was
estimated
out
time.
during the first half, and then
Yeah, yeah,
he
I was
came
gonna.
in the second.
Yeah, that was crazy. Because I was looking and I was like, just checking because I know he had 4 straight 40 plus games going into that game last night, and he missed the first 15 or missed 15 minutes of the first half. Still ended up with 29 points. So he's lethal. So, but, going back to that same question, we talked about it with Kyrie and Luka. Can he keep doing it? Can he continue to play like that throughout these playoffs and make it to the finals? I don't know, especially with all those injuries on his team. Obviously, their bench isn't that deep with all those guys out. Because a lot of those guys are becoming starters now, so that's going to be tough. But yeah, crazy how Brunson's playing. They call him the Brunson burner, so I thought that was pretty funny. But
That's
yeah,
good. And McBride off the bench when he
McBride's a
kind of
beast.
Ooh,
smells
he was hit a lot of good
Brunson.
threes last night.
Yeah, and so Brunson is a man. Don't get me wrong, but they don't lose a lot when McBride is in there, and McBride's a more athletic guard, and Brunson's just so technically sound. They kind of complement each other really well.
Mm-hmm. And who was that big man? I can't remember his name. I was trying to look that up. He's the big man for New York.
Harkenstein.
Harkenstein's
Isaiah
been he's
Harkenstein.
been playing really good. He's getting boards offensive and defensively, and he's aggressive. He's a scrappy dude for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I
Good
do think
series.
I do think the Knicks or the Pacers have the Knicks outmanned in depth and everything. I think the
Agreed.
Pacers win this series, but I think the or I think yeah, I think the Pacers win the series, but the Knicks are putting up a fight with minimal, like they're down so many men right now. Like
Yeah.
their their injury report, they have five, you could say all-stars on there. You got Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Julius Randle. I mean, those are you. That's a team right there. That's a starting five if you needed it. I mean, those
Yeah.
are all on the injury report. So I mean, it's a tough series, tough loss for the or yeah, tough series for the Knicks, and they need some of these people to return soon, or else yeah, I think the Pacers got this because they're so electrifying. I mean, they're the highest scoring offense in the NBA this season. You got Tyrese Halliburton's got to keep it going. Miles Turner's got to start knocking down some threes for the Knicks or for the Pacers. And I mean, you have Pascal Siakam who's been balling out in the playoffs for
Hmm.
the Pacers. I mean, I like this series a lot, and there was a lot of missed calls in this game too. They're letting them play for sure in this series, or at least game one they let them play pretty physical as far as what I saw. And I think I just watched the second half, but as far as I saw, they're letting them play some screens, and then the very end of the game, there was that illegal screen that wasn't
Hmm.
really an illegal screen. I didn't think, but
Yeah, look, you can make that call all game. Why don't you do it in the first 2 minutes and set a precedent?
right. I
Right.
Where it's
mean, they
not a
didn't
big
call it
deal.
all. Yeah, they didn't call it all game. They were like throwing elbows and bodies and everything the whole entire game, and then they call that petty ass screen, like, yeah, offensive foul
And
on.
who was that? DiVincenzo. Yeah, that was a huge flop. He was the one that took that moving screener. What is it? A charge, whatever it was. He was a
Mhm.
huge flop. He barely got touched, and obviously he sold it enough to the refs. But yeah, you're right, Joe. You can't make that call when the game's on the line. It's with any
You want to
sport.
set a tone, do it in the first quarter. Yep.
Right, with any sport,
Yeah,
football, you can't make those tough calls right when it's game time. Don't call it at all, because that ends up ruining the game for sure.
a lot
Do you
of
think the Pacers have a point where the refing is biased because they want to see a big market team make it forward? Do you guys think there's any credence to that?
Possibly, I mean, maybe the script. I mean, maybe they want to see Madison Square Garden. Don't get me wrong, it's fun. I'm just watching them on TV. You can hear how loud it is. But yeah, New York, big market. I could see it honestly because yeah, those calls. I don't know, it's just bad officiating, or it's just rigged to push New York
Right.
to the next round.
I
Yeah, it's
was
really interesting.
watching, yeah, I was watching the game and I asked Ashley, I was like, when does it become a point where, so there was like 4 or 5 missed calls in the last like 6 minutes of the game, and there was like 3 successful reviews or 4 successful reviews in that game. It's like, how can when does it become a point to where the refs have to take some blame if
Accountability.
there's 3 or 4 correct challenges in the matter of like 5 minutes or 6 minutes of the game? Like, how is that like acceptable? And their full-time refs don't get, and so then you get the NFL coming in from the other side who have part-time refs and like rigging games, and you see all the script and all that stuff. It's actually pretty crazy, and there's been a lot of stuff going on in the NBA as far as that goes. Anthony Edwards took a fine, like, $45,000 fine for calling out the refs and stuff like that, for telling them, I don't know how we won that game because the refs were ass. I mean, you know what I mean? There's been a lot of that controversy going on in the NBA and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's kind of nuts. And then you saw and going back to the Timberwolves Denver game, the Jalen,
Yeah, go back to that. Yep.
the Jamal Murray incident, where throwing the towel onto the court or the heating pad or both or whatever at the ref,
Both.
or whatever that. I didn't see a whole lot. I didn't hear a whole lot, but
That he was doing the money sign too. You see
well,
that?
and then Rudy Gobert got fined for doing that or something like 5 weeks ago or something like that, about a month ago or whatever that was. And it was, there's been a lot of talk about that. But any take on the Jamal Murray incident?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I agree with everybody, and then you kind of hear this in the national news too. But you can't just let that go. And let's say a fan throws a sucker on the floor, he's out. He's out. He's kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're trying to protect the integrity of the playoffs. They want to see full teams going at it, but you can't let it go, because he was kind of complaining all game. This wasn't a one-off type deal. This was ongoing, and it kind of led up to that.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, I would expect a game suspension, although it didn't happen. 100,000 for Jamal Murray is a drop in the bucket. And then even today, his reaction to it was saying, "I just want to move on." He wasn't really remorseful for it at all. So I think they handled that the wrong way, in my opinion. What do you think, Evan?
I heard a few things, and I agree. I mean, so the biggest thing is obviously he wasn't playing well, wasn't getting the calls that he wanted, and that's what the refs kind of decided. And then also they said if this was Draymond Green, or they're kind of comparing that, his Murray's track record's not bad with the refs or doing stuff like that, so that's why they just gave him the fine and no game suspension. My biggest thing is your team's out there busting their ass trying to win a game, and you're putting things on the floor. I mean, the heating pad went underneath the hoop, or I think it's ice pack or heating pad. What if you're one of your players? What if you're one of your players steps on it and gets injured?
Tears an ACL,
Then you're putting your team at risk.
Nikola Jokic tears his ACL,
right. So
it can't happen to anybody. You're messing with other people's money,
Right.
Exactly, and I think it's very selfish of him. He should have got a suspension. $100,000 fine is not going to change him. Like he just wants to move on next game. He's not going to get any punishment for his actions. So I don't know. It kind of made me. I used to love him, and just seeing him act like a 10-year-old out there throwing that shit around, especially at refs. There's no place in the game for that at all.
It says a lot about him as a person. So I used to be a big Jamal Murray fan with his shot making ability, but to see how he's acting, it's kind of jarring a little bit. Really changed my opinion of him as a person. So I want to see him play well the next couple of games. I hope the Wolves win, but I do still want to see a couple of good games out of them, and I think they will come back punching in Minnesota here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're not gonna let the T-Wolves go up 3-0 on them, even if it's away. I don't think Denver is that type of team. I mean, Jamal Murray, might have changed your view on him, but heat of the moment type deal. I mean, they're down 1-0 and they're getting their ass kicked. I mean, he probably is pissed. You know what I mean? Like, just being we're all competitors. Everyone, like, if you're down 20 points and they're just making you guys look like a fool, they beat them 20 points the last 2 games. I mean, they're just making them look like chumps out there, and they're defending champions. So, I mean, 2-time defending champions, right? Back to back.
Yep, I believe so.
Are they?
I think there
I
might
think
be
so.
back.
No,
back to back. Or
when was the COVID? The COVID year was obviously
Lakers.
The Lakers won it in the bubble.
Yeah, and then
I believe Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee won it that time because Giannis dropped a 50-piece in one of the finals games. I think it was game 3 or 4 to win it. Game 4 to win it.
Yeah. I think it's just defending champs, but
yeah.
But still, they're making them look like chumps out there. So I don't think and Jamal Murray has shown up in every game when it matters. He made that big shot. Who was it against? big shot against the Lakers to win that series or to send it into whatever game it was, game 5 or whatever. But
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with you. You think so? You're thinking game 3 they come back and win it. I think the T Wolves roll over them.
I do
They'll sweep them.
yeah, 100%. I want the Timberwolves to win the entire thing. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, but I think the Nuggets aren't going to let that at least they're going to get one on the road 100%. I think the Timberwolves or the Nuggets get one on the road this next game, and then the Timberwolves be like, "Oh shit, they're coming fighting." And so they're going to come
come
game
back the next
4.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
game 4, they're going to win and then they're going to take
Yeah,
it
but
in
I
game
think that the
5.
crowd's going to be so loud in Minnesota. I think it
Uh-huh.
actually helps the Nuggets because Anthony Edwards really feeds on energy. So he's going to be so amped up with that crowd and amped up to a
Yeah.
fault. I think he's not going to have a great game.
Yeah, not
And
like
I
not enough.
know he's going to be trying like crazy, but I think the Nuggets win this next game. And I think the Wolves crowd's just going to be so crazy in Minnesota. They're so starved for this that I think they're going to be a little bit tight. Minnesota coming
Yeah,
home.
yeah, I'm excited for that game tomorrow. I want to talk about one more series here. It's a series that I think everybody knew it would go this way. Boston, Cleveland. Boston's up 2-0. Boston's looking pretty damn good, as everyone expected. But you never know; they might fall apart like they usually do in the playoffs. But what do you guys think about that series? Obviously, Cleveland, good for D. Mitch, but obviously you got 2 stars on the other side. Actually, 3 stars because Derek White is balling out, kind of putting that team on his back. What do you guys think about that series?
Yeah, I think Boston they kind of fit the mold with OKC and Minnesota. It's a full team effort. They got Porzingis, Derek White, Jalen Brown is a star in his own right, and then
Mm-hmm.
Jason Tatum. I do have questions about Tatum and closing out games, and it seems like they're still immature after how many years in the playoffs that they've been there.
Right.
I do have concerns, but I don't know. They're up 2-0, and then I just don't think the Cavs have any kind of firepower to match up with Boston. But the viability of Boston, I don't know if they can go all the way. What do you think, Ty?
Yeah, just to I just to say Boston's up 1-0 in this series. Game 2 is going on right
Tonight.
now,
Oh, okay.
and Cleveland is up 95-83. So just to yeah, Boston, I don't know. They've made it, yeah, like you said, they've made it there past 5 years. It's like, what do you have to do to get over the hump? Pay Jalen Brunson the
Jalen
richest
Brown.
contract, or Jalen Brown the richest contract in the NBA, or what do you do? I mean,
Well, the thing is, for that, they already did. Jalen Brown already
right.
got 2 max last year.
That's what I'm saying. And then now you have to pay Jason Tatum again this year because his contract's expiring. And this year you got Kristaps Porzingis, who you just signed probably to a huge deal. I mean, they got so
Derek
much
White's gonna
money.
want money.
Yep, and they got so much money on the table right now that I don't think that this team is going to be very successful because I think it's a lot of egos. I think it's a lot of selfishness. And yeah, Jalen Brown, yeah, could be a superstar in his own right if he puts up 30, 40 points a game like he sometimes does. But there's other times where he's turning the ball over 8, 9 times a game and having 15 points and taking 20 shots and only making 6. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
there's I just don't think that team fits well together, and I think Cleveland Cavaliers are a much better team than the Boston Celtics. Yeah, you got Donovan Mitchell, you got Darius Garland, you got
Allen,
Evan Mobley, you got
Jared
who's
Allen.
Jared Allen. Yeah, I mean that is a well-rounded team, and then you got Chris LeVert who comes off who is surprisingly like can put up 30
He's
any
electric.
given. Yeah, he can put up 30 any given night. Max Strus, who can put up
Hmm.
30 any given night with threes. I mean, that team is. I think Cleveland Cavaliers are a much better team than the Boston Celtics, and yeah, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers win this series. But Boston does lead 1-0. It
1-0.
is
Okay.
Yeah, it is in Boston, but Cavaliers are up on them right now with 9 minutes left in the fourth, and 99-83. So
Okay. So
Yeah,
they
they got
might
the
see.
defense. Yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Adam.
but yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, I just think regarding that Celtics team, I agree with Joe and you. I don't think they make it. Maybe not past this first round. I don't think they make it to the finals. I think after this season, the Celtics have a huge decision to make in whether to split up those two. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, because obviously it's not working, and obviously they got to pay other people. And I think Derek White deserves some money. I think he stays there and obviously keep either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown and get rid of one of them. Got to move on and kind of find not a rebuild, but you need a different puzzle piece because that puzzle piece isn't fitting no more. Right? It never has, I guess.
Who's their clutch guy there? I mean, Tatum, he might make 50% of the shots. Right. And so they really need a closer, and it seems like they're all great when they're blowing out teams by 20.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine, but when things get close, who's the guy you go to? And I don't know if I have an answer.
I don't think you do have an answer for that. I mean, yeah, Jason Tatum, there's been controversy. This has been the talk for the past 34 years, ever since they haven't gotten past like the second, third round. I mean, is Jason Tatum clutch? And I think he is, as far as what he can do. Like in the fourth, I mean, he gets to the free throw line in the fourth probably the most than anybody ever gets to the free throw line. I mean, in the fourth quarter, I mean, I think he's averaging like 6 free throws in the fourth quarter, but that's through the whole season. But if you look in the playoffs, I mean, he's probably averaging like 6, 8 free throws in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, I would say he's clutch as far as that goes because he's making all of them. But yeah, I think you get rid of Jaylen Brown. I think you get rid of Derek White. I think you get rid of Kristaps. I think you get rid of all three of them and trade them away. Keep Jason Tatum. You can't build around. You can't build around Jaylen Brown. You can't. Like that's impossible. Jaylen Brown is not that type of player where you can build around him. Jason Tatum is that type of player. So I think you get rid of Derek White, get some capital from him because the performances he's had the last 2-3 years, you can get a lot of capital for him. And yeah, I just think they gotta part ways and just get rid of spend the money on paying these guys the last couple of years and then just get rid of them. I think get some trade value and stuff like that. But
yeah, I agree with you there.
After this conversation, who do you guys think is going to be in the finals for the East and the West? What's your prediction on who makes it this year?
Yeah, I mean, as far as who do I think is going to win the or who's going to be in the NBA championship, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the pod, Ev, but we didn't have Joey on. But I had the Timberwolves in the 76ers. So I think my shit's busted already. But the Knicks are looking, I think the Knicks, just the way they play. I didn't think Jalen Brunson was going to do this the way he's been performing. And then we've already mentioned it, touched on, so we don't need to go too far into it. But he's been having a phenomenal playoff run and pretty much carrying the team on his back the whole time. So if he can continue to do that, but I do think the Pacers are gonna beat the Knicks. I think that's what I said just recently. So I think Pacers, Celtics, or Pacers, Cavs the next round, and then I think I have the Cavaliers advancing over them. If it's gonna go from right now, where everything's standing right now, I have the Timberwolves and the Cavaliers in the championship.
Wow, jeez. that's a bold pick.
Yeah, and I don't think that's ever happened. And correct me, I guess I don't know the entire history of the Timberwolves and Cavaliers in the finals together.
Oh, I don't think so.
The Timberwolves have never been. They've only made the Western Conference Finals.
Oh shit, then that's for sure. For my picks, I think in the finals, I'm gonna go Knicks and Timberwolves. I think I said it last podcast. I just like the way Jalen Brunson's playing. I know we talked about, obviously, injuries on the Knicks, but I think he's going to continue to play good. Josh Hart, he's played, I think they said 4 or 5 games. He's played all 48 minutes in each game. So he's playing and he's not, I don't think he's slowing down. Obviously, he's not a key player really there, but he's a good defender, and he's obviously playing well lockdown D. And then T-Wolves, Anthony Edwards, obviously, defense player Rookie of the Year, and Rudy Gobert. So I think I think that'd be fun. Rudy Gobert he's defensive player of the year.
Yeah, but then you have Naz Reid as the 6-man player.
Did he win? He won 6-man.
Mm-hmm. So you got a lot of talent over there. So there's deep ass team, very fun to watch. So T-Wolves are I think they're a fan favorite for anybody, honestly, heading into the playoffs. Like maybe the Mavericks, you might have some OKC fans, but they're, kind of a newer team. I don't know a whole lot of people that followed Seattle Supersonics to OKC. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unless they were just a bandwagon with Kevin Durant and James Harden and Russell Westbrook. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
That's a fun team. That was a fun team.
right,
that was a fun
super
team, very
stacked.
fun
Just
team.
imagine if they stayed together. Like that'd be
Jeff
nuts.
Green and then whoever else they had. Oh, they had who's the analyst on ESPN? Perk. They had
Uh,
Big Perk too.
Yeah,
Kendrick
Kendrick Perkins.
Perkins.
They also had Steven
Yeah.
Adams on the team at one point. Like
What a squad.
those
Pablo
dogs were
Cephalosha. Yeah.
Serge Ibaka. Like those guys were
Yes.
Serge Ibaka,
vicious,
yeah.
bro. Those guys
Ibaka.
were that was such a fun team to watch. NBA like 2K like 12 was the like so fun because they were on the same team and it was just is the team to rock with in the NBA 2K when they were on the same team. But yeah,
For sure.
so yeah, Joey, you go ahead. So Evan has the Nuggets and Knicks. I have the
No,
Cavs or
Timberwolves
Timberwolves and Knicks. I have the Cavs and the Timberwolves. And then Joey, go ahead. What do you got? So you got we already mentioned all of them. You got the Thunder and the Mavs, and then the Timberwolves and the Nuggets in the West, and you have the Celtics and the Cavs and the Pacers and the Knicks in the East.
Yeah, I really like I love OKC. I think whenever the national media talks about any Minnesota team like they do, they always come back to the middle. It seems like when they get all the attention like that, they always fall. And so
Right.
I being a Minnesota fan, it's hard to root against them, and I'm not. But I think it's going to be OKC and then the Boston Celtics in the finals.
That's a
I
good
just think
pick.
OKC's playing with house money. They're great defensively. I think that series with Minnesota goes 7 games, but the home court advantage for OKC can't be understated. I think with a young team like that being the 1 seed, and they are the 1 seed, right?
OKC, yeah,
Yep.
they're the best in the West this year.
Yeah, I think that home court advantage is really going to help them if and when they make it to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, that game seven. If that happens, I have the Mavericks beating the Thunder, but if the Thunder make it past the Mavericks and take on the Timberwolves, so we haven't mentioned any winners yet or anything like that. But if I'm looking at your series, Joey, if you have the Celtics versus the OKC Thunder, and you have the Timberwolves going into 7 games with the Thunder, who do you have winning your championship then?
Yeah, great question. OKC is probably burnt out after Minnesota because it's 2 young teams that are going to be just going at it.
Fast, physical,
Right, and
just
that's going to
up
be fun
and
to watch.
down. It is going to be
That's going to
fun.
be some great basketball. I don't want the Celtics to win, but I think they would in that scenario. If OKC goes 7, they're just not going to have the juice, and they're going to be new in the finals. So I have Boston winning the finals against OKC.
Yeah, yeah. If just thinking about it, that Thunder Timberwolves series would be electric. Yeah, that'd be just be,
So
yeah,
physical, it's going to be back and forth. Yeah, oh man,
must
I
watch
don't know.
television.
There's going to be games where it's going to be 85 to 95. Because these teams are going to be playing some stout defense, full court
Mm-hmm.
defense, and they're going to be gas. And it's who has a better bench, and they both have pretty good benches. So it'll be.
Yeah.
I'm real excited if that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Evan, what about you? So you have
Knicks and
the
Timberwolves, and I got Knicks and Timberwolves. I think the that series goes to 6 games. I get the Knicks winning it all. I just think thinking about that series. You were mentioning, Joe, how loud it's going to be in Minnesota, and then obviously Madison Square Garden's always rocking. So I just want to see a loud, environment both times. I mean, wherever they go, obviously back and forth. I think it'd be a crazy environment wherever you play. And then I get the Knicks winning. Obviously, I think, like I said, Jalen Brunson's going to keep playing the way he does, and now Hartenstein, man, he's a good big dude. So yeah, I got the Knicks winning in 6 games over the T Wolves. But it'd be
That'd be
awesome
a
to see
fun.
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Who do you have
100.
winning, Ty?
Yeah, I have the Timberwolves, and like just the way the series is set up right now, I have the Timberwolves and the Cavaliers in the championship,
Mm-hmm.
3 and a 4 seed. Just the way the series are panning out right now, you have the Timberwolves up 2-0 on the Nuggets. You have Cavaliers up 111 to 87 on the
Oh,
Celtics. So they're up about 30 points right there, 20 points right there on the Celtics with
They're
five
so
minutes
boomer
left in
bust.
the fourth. Right. Yeah. I just don't think they're consistent enough or reliable enough to win everything, to win it all. I mean, they've been this way the past 3-4 years, like we said. So, I mean, yeah, Cavaliers consistent. You got Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, 2 great backcourt point guards. I mean,
Great
one and
bigs, two great
one and two.
bigs.
You got Evan Mobley and I always forget this guy.
Karis LeVert.
No, I always forget his other
Jared
name.
Allen. You're thinking Jared Allen and yeah,
Garrett Allen or Jared Allen. Yeah, those two
yeah.
bigs that just trees, both 7 foot plus in the middle, and then you have Karis LeVert to wrap up the court. I mean, yeah, just a dominant team, pretty deep with Max Strus and stuff. I think Max Strus actually starts, but I mean, there's just a good team, stellar team. Celtics, I just think they're overrated. Yeah, they did have one of the better records and best offenses in the regular season, but come postseason, they always seem to choke there. Um, Timberwolves, Cavs, I don't know, uh, but Mavs are fun to watch too, man. I don't know, but yeah,
Here's
Timberwolves and
something they have the
Cavs.
juice. Do they tie with Luca? Can Luca just keep carrying on this
Ah,
pace? And he's injured. You know
No,
what I
I don't
mean?
think so. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
I agree
mean,
with Evan. I just
you say the same thing about Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson just started picking up in the last 2-3 years. Luke has been doing
he's more in
this
shape
since
though
he's 13.
than
Yeah, Luke has been doing this since he's fucking 13, though.
Yeah, but you got to
yeah.
think though.
Playing
Jalen
against
Brunson's not
grown ass men since he's
Jalen
13.
Brunson's
This
not
guy,
battling an knee injury though.
I don't think I think it might be a tweak knee. I don't think it's anything. He put up what, 34 last night?
29 or
Uh,
something.
yeah,
I mean
I could
he
see.
he put up at least, yeah, 29, 30 points. I mean, off a bum knee, this guy isn't gonna go down unless something
On
serious
Tuesday,
happens.
yeah, he put up. They played on Tuesday. Their last game they played. Um, he played 41 minutes, only had 19 points,
How many assists and
Okay.
rebounds?
6 and 9, 6 assists, 9 rebounds.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I mean that needs
Yeah.
I mean it's a good game, but that knee's affecting him for sure. Those aren't the numbers he usually puts up. But
No. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, and they didn't get the W either. So I mean, could be. Yeah, and they're on the road too, so they might be. I don't know. He played 41 minutes though. Damn.
yep, 41 minutes and only 19 points. Kyrie only had 20 points
Gibbs
and
just
played
rising.
37.
I just don't know if the Knicks have it in them to, with the minutes they're playing every game. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard for them to, and they don't rely on the bench at all. So
Jalen Brunson, a lot of the shots he puts up. I mean, I saw him do a floater last night, and he should have made it, and it finds its way into the basket. And I think a lot of his threes are like that as well, around the
yeah,
rim. They always end up falling. So I think that if he can keep doing that, and he only played, I think he played 20, 25 minutes, 25 minutes last night. He still had almost 30 points. So
it's
um,
funny because they're Team Villanova. They got Josh Hart, DiVincenzo,
Yeah.
yeah,
Brunson. It's kind of fun to
that's
see
pretty cool. Yeah.
Villanova. Yeah. Last question for you guys. I know we're trying to maybe get to some quarterbacks in NFL. Who's your MVP this year in the NBA? Joker just got named MVP,
Hmm.
but if you guys had a vote, um, personally, I think the playoffs should happen before the MVP vote takes place
hmm
because there's a lot of value there. But who would you guys pick for MVP in your mind?
Go ahead.
Uh, I'd probably have to say SGA at OKC. He had a phenomenal year, and I did think he was going to end up winning it. And did you say that you wish it would just be regular season MVP, or you wish they included the playoffs?
I
Included.
wish they included the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah,
See,
it's
I
my
think
opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
yeah, I think I agree with that. Just because I mean, these games matter the most. So obviously, big players show up in big moments. But yeah, I think SGA. But if they're including that, I think Anthony Edwards probably, if they include the playoffs, I think they got to go with Edwards for the MVP for sure.
Hmm.
I
I
mean,
think
yeah.
I
I mean, it's a good argument for Anthony Edwards. I mean, they finished the best that they've ever. I don't know if it's the best that they've ever finished, but they finished second in the West and had a really good record. They were battling OKC back and forth for the number one spot in the West the whole entire year. So they've had a really good year, and Anthony Edwards has been a huge part of that. Um, yeah, Jokic. I mean, triple double average this season. I mean, it's hard to argue against him winning MVP for like the third straight year in a row.
hmm
Um, I mean, he's so consistent. He does this every night in, night out. I mean, yeah, I think he is the most valuable player ever. Like in the past 5 years, I don't think there's anybody that has been better than Jokic in the past 4 or 5 years than in the NBA. Maybe LeBron, you can argue, um, but he's been doing that for how long, and his numbers have dipped a little bit, but I mean, he's
Not
still
much,
averaging
but yeah.
25, 6, and 8 or whatever he's averaging right now. So I mean,
Hmm.
but Jokic is averaging 30, 10, and 10 is
It's
nuts. And
insane. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's just freaking it's just crazy. So I do think Jokic deserves an MVP, and he's so humble about it too. He's not the one gonna be if he
He just
doesn't
wants to
win
race
it.
his horse. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, if he doesn't win MVP, he doesn't care about this reward award or whatever
Mm-mm.
MVP. He probably doesn't even. Yeah, so I mean, I think he deserves it, but yeah, I like Jokic. He's probably the best player in the NBA right now. It's just so impossible. It's I I give credit to uh to the Timberwolves and how they're defending Jokic. I mean, it's just insane how like
It takes
he
three
goes.
big bodies. Yep, 3-on-1
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, basically is what they're doing. So I mean, they're doing an excellent job on Jokic locking down. They've planned for the Nuggets because they knew they had the Nuggets coming if they won. They knew they had the Nuggets coming in round two. So I think they've been preparing for a long time for the Denver Nuggets, and they played them a couple times this year already. So, but
Hmm.
Honestly, I'm surprised by both of your answers. Um, I would say Edwards, but he has such a good supporting cast,
right,
and
yeah,
so does Jokic. If you take Edwards off the Timberwolves, I think they're still a playoff team, and that's
mm,
nothing
Hmm.
against Edwards, but I
you think
just
so?
think, yeah, I do. With they can win they can win a bunch of different ways. I think Brunson is the obvious answer. If you take Brunson off the Celtics, I mean the
The
Knicks,
Knicks, yeah.
who are they? You know,
If
do they
Julius
do
Randle
they?
didn't get hurt though, yeah. If Julius Randle didn't get, I mean, if you took Brunson off the Knicks, who are you replacing him with though? You know what I mean?
Yes. So when I hear most valuable, to me, like the Knicks would not be even close to where they're at without Brunson.
Right.
And I think even without Jokic, and that would be a blow, but I think they'd still be a playoff team. And I think
Yeah.
Minnesota would be too, without Ant.
Yeah, Denver Nuggets do have a good supporting cast with like Aaron Gordon and
Porter.
Michael Porter Jr. and Kentavious Caldwell Pope's been clutch in the like this
Hmm.
last couple games. He's been huge for the Nuggets. I mean, yeah, not last couple games, but in the Lakers series, it was clutch versus his old team. But I mean, yeah, you know what I mean. I think yeah,
Yeah.
all good answers. Jalen Brunson, yeah, you can't replace. I don't think you could replace Jalen Brunson with anybody else. I don't think you can play. You can't put Jokic. You can put Jokic on any other team, and I think he does the same thing.
Yeah.
I think you could put Anthony Edwards on any other team and he does the same thing. I don't know if you can put Jalen Brunson on any other team and he does the same thing. Is what I think. I mean,
I
Jalen he's improved the last 2 years. That's what I'm saying. Like over the last 2 or 3 years, yeah, he's skyrocketed like to superstar level. And yeah, I don't know why. Maybe he is just that guy. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's kind of a wouldn't say a fluke because obviously he's doing it, but I just feel like it's
Hmm.
just like a run that he's going on for like a couple of years, and then I don't know if it's going to go much longer. I don't think he does it this. I think the Pacers knock off the Knicks, to be honest. Even though the
No.
Knicks are up two
No
zero,
way.
even though the Knicks are up 2-0, it was at home in Madison Square Garden. You saw the refs. I'm just saying, we'll see. We'll see when it goes to Indiana. Indiana
you're
has a
on an
pretty
island with that.
And we know how your first. I mean, your pick for you picked up the 76ers to make it to the finals.
Joel Embiid got hurt, man. That's not my
Hey,
fault.
but yeah, well, you knew he had surgery halfway through the season. You thought he was going to bounce back and be the same person that he was before the surgery.
He did
He
pretty
had surgery mid-season.
he put up 40 in a couple games like after his surgery against the Knicks. So I mean,
Yeah, but
he
you
did
had him
come back
going
and do
four
that.
series.
Yeah, I
Ty, you
thought
want to know my take
Tyrese
on that? They're going
say
to
again.
dump Embiid. They're going to dump Embiid next year, and they're going to build around Maxi.
I 100% agree.
Maxi's a
100%
beast.
agree. Yeah. 100%
Because
agree.
look, he's great, but he fizzles out, and he's shown this now for 3 years straight. He fizzles out now, second round of the playoffs or whatever, how far he makes it. And Maxi has proven to be a star in the league, and so I think they kind of get rid of the process finally by getting rid of Embiid, and they kind of turn over a new leaf. And Tobias Harris is gone.
Yeah, Tobias Harris is a little
Yeah,
older.
absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, Embiid, like, I don't know, generational talent. I think like you can build a team around him. They tried a couple different scenarios. They put James Harden with him, didn't really work. I think him and
Ben
Tyrese Maxey. I think Tim and what'd you say, Joey?
Ben Simmons too, and they tried
Ben,
Markel
yeah,
Fultz.
Ben Simmons,
And
yeah,
they swung and missed on a lot of picks.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You can put a bunch of Ben Simmons is dog water, but I
I don't
mean,
think he's played an entire season in 10 years.
Back.
Yeah,
back,
he's.
knees, legs,
I mean,
depression.
you
I
can say
mean,
that you can say the
mental.
same
There's a
thing
lot of
about.
things.
Yeah, it just reminded me of something. Lonzo Ball hasn't played in like 2.5 years. I think he's actually gotten
He's
cleared
coming
to play
back.
next year. So
Yep.
I'm excited to see him. He was a baller prior to him getting injured. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I think these playoffs are fun. You can definitely tell the different pace of play between playoffs and then regular season. Regular season, and like you said, you think Jalen Brunson. I don't can say anything because I didn't watch a lot of regular season NBA, especially
Right.
the Knicks. I watched a lot of Lakers ball, but yeah, it's a totally different game, regular season versus playoffs. I think it's more fun to watch, even though we have seen a lot of blowouts in these playoffs. But definitely
It
different.
benefits the Wolves. Definitely benefits the Wolves with their length, and
Mm-hmm.
if they can reach in like they're able to reach in right now, then it really favors the length of the Wolves.
Hmm.
Even OKC to some aspect. But do you guys want to move on to the NFL? Try to get some quarterback
Yeah,
talk
let's do
in.
it. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
100%. But yeah, just to back off what you just said, Joe, just to piggyback, the Cavs lengthy as fuck too. So I
Agreed,
think
Ty. Yep.
I think
Good
cat
one.
yeah. There's a lot of I mean, this is the playoffs. The top 8 teams in the NBA are obviously here right now. So it's a lot of good
Splitting hairs.
competition.
Splitting hairs.
Yeah, a lot of good competition. So but yeah, I mean, NHL is going on right now. Playoffs are going on. So we don't know much about that. So I apologize if we don't touch on that a whole lot. But they're having their draft here coming up soon, not too far away
I'm
or
not
what?
sure. I think it's the only thing I saw is that they're maybe in the next few months. I think it's going to be after the Stanley Cup. But they're having it actually in the Sphere in Las Vegas, the
Oh,
draft. So that's gonna be pretty damn sick. That's the
is
first
that like
draft they've. What's up?
no, yeah, is that like the first event they've had? I know they had the
Not
U2, the
no.
U2 concerts and shit like
They've
that. That
had
was like
They've had an NFL draft there, haven't they?
at the
nope
In
Sphere?
nope.
Vegas.
No,
No,
at
in
the
Vegas they have,
Sphere.
but inside that Sphere, what we're talking about the
Oh,
ball
got
that
it.
they
The big.
built.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
gotcha.
they're having the NHL draft there, but I'm not sure when it is. But they've had multiple, I think, concerts there. But this is the first draft, obviously, because it was
That'd be
built a year ago,
sweet.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but not really following NHL a ton. I mean, I watch the games. I know Rangers are up 2-0. I'm a big Dallas Stars fan. They lost in overtime last night, I believe, or 2 nights ago. But I just like watching hockey because it's so fast paced, physical. I like to see the fights. Um, but yeah, I don't really follow like any certain team besides the Dallas Stars.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know really have much about NHL. I'll let you know what the playoff bracket looks like. So second round, you have the Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche, and then you
Hmm.
have the Canucks versus the Oilers in the Western, and then the Eastern, you have the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers, and the Toronto Rangers and the Hurricanes in the Eastern. So a lot of I mean, these teams are yeah 1-2, 1-2, 1-3, 1-2. So I mean, top teams in the
Yeah, was
NHL
it
right
that?
now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you froze. You froze a little bit there. I think you froze.
oh shit.
I would say
Okay.
the Oilers are really fun with McDavid. I really like watching him, that lefty
Yeah,
there with the Oilers.
Connor
He's
McDavid.
really fun.
Yeah,
They're a young team.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think they're the youngest team in the NHL playoffs, or like in the history of the NHL playoffs to make it, or one of the youngest. So, yeah, that's always sweet to see one of those young teams make it. But yeah, speaking of NHL draft, if that's coming up, uh, you had the NFL draft not too long ago, and then we obviously touched on that. We had the live stream and all that good stuff, but we haven't had Joey on since we touched on the NFL draft and everything. So, I mean, Minnesota Vikings fan Joey, how did you like the JJ McCarthy pick and the Dallas Turner, and then how the Vikings just executed the draft in general?
Sure. Yeah, I'll stick with the top two picks there. It seems like the later rounds it's all developmental, so we'll see how they pan out. JJ McCarthy, I'm glad they didn't move up to 4 or 5 to get him. At least they got to wait until, what was it, pick 10 to get him. But I don't like how they're calling him a system quarterback. That concerns me when they're saying that this early. But I think he falls into a good system with Kevin O'Connell, with all the weapons that they have with Addison and Hawkinson and JJ, which hopefully they sign soon. So the jury's still out, but I think he's more of a Jimmy Garoppolo would be my comp for JJ McCarthy. And I don't know if that's a great comp.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Is that a good comparison? I mean, obviously Jimmy G is a system quarterback. He hasn't done well at all on any other team besides the 49ers. What do you do with the Raiders? He got hurt.
No, okay. I thought you were gonna say he hasn't done good at all.
Yeah, he's a system quarterback.
He did well with the 49ers though, led him to the playoffs.
System quarterback.
And what Super Bowl.
Yep, and look at how Brock Purdy's doing. Another system quarterback.
I saw a funny Instagram deal that said, top 10 plays for JJ McCarthy, and there were 10 handoffs.
Mm-hmm. I saw that too.
Hey, but there's nothing wrong with the first year. I mean, they got Aaron Jones to hand off to, so I think they'll be just fine.
Sure, I'm excited about the weapons they have, but I feel like a lot of quarterbacks could. I'm hoping Sam Darnold has a coming out party in Minnesota. I think ideally JJ sits a year or two, and Sam Darnold shows us some things. And so my question, I guess, I know the draft is important. Dallas Turner will be good. I think he'll be good right away, is my take on that. But my question to you guys, out of all the rookie quarterbacks, who has the best year one? And so my take, for example, is JJ McCarthy's going to sit.
Right.
So I'm not going to pick him as my pick.
Michael Penix sitting
has the biggest impact year one.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically it's just the top 3 picks, right? So you got Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Those are the only quarterbacks that are going to be really starting, right? You got Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is going to start for the Broncos.
Yeah, you got Bo Nix. So you got those 4 quarterbacks with the system around them. You'd got to think that the Jaden Daniels has the best options and availability around him. I think Jaden Daniels.
What's your reasoning behind that? Who of the weapons that he has? I want to hear the take. Go into further depth about why you think Jaden Daniels.
Oh yeah. The connection. I wouldn't say camaraderie that he's gonna have with his teammates. So you got Johan Dotson, 3rd-year player. You have what's the McLaren?
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin. Yeah, he's a year 4 player, year 5 maybe. You have Austin Eckler as a veteran stud running back. You have Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson Jr. who's a 3rd-year player. I mean, that's a young team, new coaching system, brand new everything. Start from scratch. And you got Jaden Daniels, who's a running quarterback, a running threat, a passing threat. And you have those young weapons. Johan Dotson, look at his stats the last 2 years. His rookie year, he had 9 touchdowns. His sophomore year, he had 8 touchdowns, but he was hurt half the year. I mean, I think, this is going to be Washington Redskins phenomenal. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be clutch and for the Commanders. So I think Jaden McDaniels. Who do you guys got?
I'm going to go. This is obviously a cliche, probably not cliche pick, but what everybody thinks maybe is Caleb Williams. I think they put so many pieces around him. I mean, he was a great quarterback. He's got a good arm, got good accuracy. But obviously, look at the weapons around him. You got DJ Moore out of the backfield, catches out of the backfield every once in a while, actually quite a bit.
DJ Moore?
Yep, DJ Moore. Yep,
out of the backfield?
He's the running back for the Bears, yeah.
No, he's not.
Where's the running back for the Bears?
Running back for the Bears?
Oh, yeah, I was not DJ Moore. No. Who is that?
He just got traded. They have Khalil Herbert, and then they just picked up somebody else. But it's not. DJ Moore's a wide receiver, and they have Keenan Allen. So they do have weapons around him. They have Cole Kmet.
My bad. DeAndre Swift.
Swift, yes, correct. Yeah, they get traded from the Eagles.
Then Romo Dunze. I think, and then I have Cole Kmet, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think.
And a pretty good offensive line.
Yeah, they stacked up an offensive line, so I think he's going to have the best year. But not a wrong pick with Jaden Daniels. I think those two are definitely going to have coming out years. What about Drake May?
For the Patriots.
Doesn't have any weapons around him, though, really.
They've added a few. They've added the wide receiver from the Vegas. Um, Kobe,
Renfro? No.
no, Jacoby
I,
Myers.
oh,
Jacoby
Okay, yeah.
Myers.
they've had him for a year or two. Yeah.
And
Yeah, they
they've
have.
built a couple of
Player.
young wide receivers around Drake May. I think that he's going to be good. Ezekiel Elliott's not there anymore. He's back in
Dallas.
Dallas, but they had that one running back who took over fantasy 2 years ago. What was his name?
Oh, Richardson.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't
Can't
remember.
remember
Right.
his name, but yeah, he took over. He's a solid running back. They still have him. He was hurt half the year last year and
Yeah,
stuff
what the
like
hell
that.
is his name?
But anyway, I don't think Drake May is gonna. I think Caleb Williams is gonna be a bust. I'm hoping he's gonna be bust just because he's in the Minnesota's conference. Yeah, NFC North. But I mean, yeah, that's what I'm hoping. But what are your takes, Joey? Who do you think is gonna be the best QB out of the rookie draft class?
Yeah, you guys took the two obvious picks, and so I won't go into too much detail on either. But I do think Caleb Williams would be my pick for a lot of the reasons that Evan stated. I'm really intrigued about Bo Nix with Sean Payton.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I think in Denver, there, I think he's going to start right away because they don't have any other option. I think
Hmm.
with Drake May in New England, they're going to slow play that a little bit. They're not going to try to screw it up. So I'm not sure if Drake May plays right away in New England. So because I kind of got the third pick in this question, I'm going to say Bo Nix with Sean Payton. I think there's a little Drew Brees aspect, just a little bit taller and more intangibles, and I think
Hmm.
Sean Payton likes a project like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
He's
think
done this
Russell Wilson didn't stand a chance because it wasn't Sean Payton's pick.
right.
I think Sean Payton really likes Bo Nix, and so I think they're going to make it work.
Yeah.
Although they don't have a ton of minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. And I think they did this. I mean, Sean Payton's done this. We mentioned this on the pod a couple weeks ago, but Sean Payton's done this a couple of times with Drew Brees. He did it with Jameis Winston, Philip Rivers, I think, or something like that. I mean, he's changed quarterbacks significantly, like second team quarterbacks. Like, okay, this team drafted this team or this quarterback, or just say Drew Brees, for instance, and then didn't do well in that team, and then went to New Orleans and had Sean Payton, and he changed Drew Brees' life pretty much.
Hmm.
So I mean, yeah, I think he does like Bo Nix. Bo Nix is very comparable to Drew Brees. We'll just see how he plays with the throwing. I mean, he's very athletic. Obviously, you saw that in Oregon, but we'll see how he does with throwing the ball too. He has decent targets too. Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. I mean, yeah, crazy stuff going on in New Orleans. I mean, Michael Thomas is a free agent, so we'll see where he goes, but he's always a reliable
Oh, yeah.
target, for like eight games. I mean, he doesn't play the full year ever, but 8 games out of the year, he's a security blanket. So we'll see how New Orleans handles it. But yeah, Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, they had that young running back, Williams, Javante Williams. He's a stud.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Hmm.
We'll
they
see.
just have to.
I think weather plays a big part in this too. In Chicago, though, they call it the the Windy City for a reason. And so I'll be curious to see how Caleb Williams goes from USC to Chicago and the weather, and then even like
Hmm.
when he goes to Green Bay,
Yeah.
how is he going to perform?
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see how he does in the cold weather, and if they're able to pass it, late in the season, come Christmas time.
Right. And I just wanted to kind of not piggyback off your answer, Joe. You said Bo Nix, obviously, in Denver, and I think you're exactly right. Sean Payton, um, Russell Wilson went in there. He was already molded as a professional quarterback. He couldn't be molded by Sean Payton, and I think Sean Payton thought he was going to be able to do that. I think this is the perfect project, like you said, with Bo Nix, and I think he'll do very well. So I think all three of us had very good picks. When Jaden Daniels for Ty, I got Caleb Williams, and then you have Bo Nix. And I think those three quarterbacks are going to really show who they are their first season. And like the ones that aren't going to play, yeah, I don't think that Drake May's going to play. I think they'll play him in, and then the others I think as well. Obviously, you got what's his name out of I think he's going to Atlanta. Shit, I just forgot his
Oh,
name.
Penix.
Penix,
Penix.
yeah.
He won't play for maybe 3 or 4 years, depend how Kirk holds up. But yeah, I think all three of us had great picks for quarterbacks.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. But yeah, just to piggyback off both of you guys. Bears, you said Caleb Williams. weather, windy. Bears released their new stadium
Yep.
project, like $1.7 billion project, new stadium. They're having parks and stuff like that. So, I mean, he might not even have to worry about after this year. They're breaking the ground in 2025, supposedly, or plan to, I guess, or projected to.
hmm
So, I mean, yeah, it could be interesting. Could be interesting to see. Yeah, Cowboys is
Well, the
probably going to be.
question was year one.
Yeah, the question is year one. I mean,
Exactly.
you always see. Yeah, sometimes you have like not a good year from freshman year up to sophomore, and then they explode in sophomore year. But you also see where you have the freshman standout who just takes over the league in one year, like CJ Stroud did, and then you have the
Yes.
sophomore slump, and so you have the sophomore slump where they produce half of what they did in the previous year. So I
Right.
mean, you never know what's going to happen. So but Houston does look fun to watch, and they got a lot of weapons around CJ Stroud and improving too. They got added Joe Mixon, they've added Stephon Diggs, and added a bunch of defense too, or got rid of defense and added defense to Daniil
Danielle
Hunter from
hmm
the
Hunter.
Vikings. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, they're going to be. I think they're going to be really good. What about the? I know, kind of off top, not off topic, but Tennessee Titans added Tyler Boyd to their offense, so they got a lot of weapons. They got Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, and Tyler Boyd. Obviously, got Will Levis at the helm, but he heated up towards the end of this.
You guys trust Will Levis?
I the game against Miami, I saw him play when they won that, coming back from down 21, I believe it
Threw
was.
4 touchdowns, 500
Really
yards or
showed me, and
whatever.
that was one of
Yeah.
his first games, actually playing an entire game. I think, or maybe coming in at halftime or first quarter. But I think he's going to turn out all right. He's got the build for it. He's athletic. He just got to improve his arm a little bit, and I'm sure with these targets that he has, he'll be just fine.
They added a lot.
Yeah,
Calvin
we'll find
Ridley,
out,
And
right?
they
Yeah.
Tony Pollard.
yeah, added a lot of weapons. Calvin Ridley, yeah, like you said, Tony Pollard. They already have D Hop. I think they added another wide receiver too. So
They're
yeah,
gonna be
they're
good.
replacing Derrick Henry with a lot of talent
A lot of
around them.
pieces.
So
Yeah,
Yeah, it should be a fun year, boys, for sure.
yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. I know we got a long ways to go until August, and I'm excited for the first game of the year. Obviously, I mentioned it on a podcast earlier, but Packers first game. It's on a Friday night, which is gonna be awesome. And it's in Germany. It's in Germany. I'm not sure.
the
Can't remember
first
who they
games in
play.
Germany this year, that's pretty dope.
Yep, and they're on a Friday night, so I'm pumped for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun year. Well, yeah,
Yes,
we'll have to
sir.
see a couple weeks down the road how our predictions fare out for the NBA at least, and then
Yeah, we might have to do another podcast. Kind of recap or see how we were doing.
that's
Yeah.
why I talked some shit to Ty about his terrible finals picks.
Hell yeah. You know my predictions, the 55 inches of snow, you know how it goes. So uh but yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on, Joey. Thanks for
Yeah, thank you,
tuning in.
man.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming on, and we want you to come on again if you have any time. I know you got a baby, and you got a baby on the way, so we won't have much time, but I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate your insight. Yeah, just thank you. Appreciate
Yeah, Ty, Evan, thanks for having me. It's been a blast. I think we could talk sports for hours, right? And
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's pretty easy to talk with you guys, but I want to say big things coming for Ty with the first baby on the way. So
Hell
his
yeah.
biggest game is coming up, being a father. So really proud of him and excited for what's to come for you. So thanks for having me, and hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah, see you,
100%,
boys.
Joey. I appreciate you. And yeah, thanks for the love and the support. New baby on the way. So yeah,
Yeah, we'll
coming
be there
up.
for you.
Yeah, this weekend. So yeah, it's pretty nuts. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, gonna need all the luck and love and support and everything behind me. So, but I think we got it. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun ride. But we might take a few weeks off here just because yeah, obviously having a baby takes a lot of time out of your day and everything like that. So, but I might take a few weeks off from the pod. But we'll be back better than ever in the next one. So we'll have lots to talk about, and there's always stuff going on in the sports world, like you said, Joe. We could talk for days and hours and on end. So, um,
hmm
but yeah, thanks you guys for tuning in to another episode of TEW Confrontational. We'll see you guys next week on the pod, or maybe not next week, but in a couple weeks, whenever we guys see you, we'll see you guys then. Until then, peace.
Peace.